Close decision makers. Positively answer the 6 critical questions for a decision maker. Do you have a problem with top people buying from you? I got a question for you. Why is it that so many salespeople have such a hard time working with top decision makers? Is it because top decision makers are rough and tough people? Or maybe it's because top decision makers are very serious people and a bit complicated. Or, quite possibly, it's because top decision makers are hard to deal with and maybe a little bit nuts. Well, maybe all of that's true. But I don't think that's the real reason why salespeople have trouble working with and closing top decision makers. Here's what I think. I think that most salespeople just don't understand top decision makers. That's right, most salespeople really don't. And it's not because they can't. It's just because most salespeople have never worked in the capacity of a top decision maker. So they really don't know what top people are really looking for when they're making a buying decision. Now, what I want to do here today is I want to share with you some insight into the mind of a top decision maker. And I know a little something about being a top decision maker because pretty much all my friends and all of my associates and all of my clients are top decision makers. And since I've owned various companies almost my entire career, I'm a top decision maker myself. And I gotta tell you this, as a top decision maker, here is what I can share with you that might dramatically improve your sales, your career, and your commissions. If you take a look at what salespeople have been traditionally trained to do, I gotta tell you, it's just not enough to succeed with the top decision maker. For example, salespeople are traditionally taught to, first of all, conduct nice presentations. Now, that's important, but that's not enough to close a top decision maker. Second, as salespeople, have been taught to sell value rather than just selling products and services. And again, that's important, but that's not enough if you want to close the top people. Number 3, we've been taught to sell solutions. Again, it's important, but not enough for a top decision maker. And number 4, we're now told to sell the relationship. Of course, relationships are important in sales and for top decision makers, but that's not enough to close them. Now, don't get me wrong. These 4 aspects of sales are important for salespeople to understand and master, but that's just the foundation of sales. You see, with a top decision maker, there's something else that a salesperson has to do if they want the top people to buy from them. And that is to positively answer the 6 critical questions for a decision maker. Yep, there are 6 questions. Now understand this, even though all decision makers are different and their specific needs and wants may differ, still all decision makers have 6 critical questions that they must have answered in their mind before they buy from you. And furthermore, the answers to these 6 questions combined give a decision maker the confidence of whether or not your offer is really valuable and ultimately valuable enough to buy. And understand this, a top decision maker will answer all 6 of these questions in their mind no matter what you do. So the question you really need to be asking yourself while you're selling is, what are you doing to positively influence the answer to the 6 questions in the top decision maker's mind? Now, of course, before you can do that, you need to know what the 6 questions are. So let me give them to you. Question number 1, can I trust what this salesperson is telling me? This is simple and very straightforward, especially for top people. If they don't trust you, and they don't trust your company, and they don't trust the product or solution you're offering, they're not gonna buy, period. So you need to take a hard look at what you're doing and be seriously thinking about what specifically you're doing to, as I'm gonna call this, demonstrate capability. And what that means is, what are you doing to ensure that the customer trusts you, your company, and the product or service that you're offering? Question number 2, how much will this cost me? Now, hold on just a second, wait. This is not only a money question. This question goes much deeper than that, especially for a top decision maker. It's a question about risk assessment, which simply means, is your offer in the mind of the decision maker a low or an acceptable risk to them? Now, this includes, at a minimum, the risk of resources, the risk of time, the risk of reputation, the risk of effort, the risk of failure, and in the end, of course, the risk of money. What you have to remember is that the higher perceived risk of your offer in the decision maker's mind, the lower chance you have of closing them. So what you've got to make sure that you do when you're working with that top decision maker is share with them why your particular offer is not a high risk and it's an acceptable risk and, if you can, a very low risk for them. Question number 3, what will the bottom line results be? Top people always think in terms of the bottom line. And most of the time, they're thinking about the bottom line in terms of a maximum and also of a minimum. And you need to remember that if they're making a decision, that's what they're thinking about. They're thinking, all right, at the end of the day, what's the bottom line? What will end up happening, good or bad, if I make this decision? Question number 4, how long will it take? Specifically here, we're talking about how long will it take you to get to them what it is you're selling in some sort of tangible sense. Now, what's important to remember here is that top decision makers are very, very time conscious. And when they're making a decision, in their mind, if they've already decided to buy what you have, in most cases, they're going to want what you've got pretty quickly. Now, that's not always the case, but most of the time. And here's your challenge. If they feel that they can get what you're offering quicker from someone or somewhere else, they're going to question doing business with you. So you need to make sure that you're able to provide in a tangible sense what you're offering as quick as possible and make sure that they know you can do that. Question number 5, what happens if I don't buy this? Here's what you need to remember. If the answer to this question, the decision maker's mind is, well, nothing really, or we won't lose very much, then they're not going to lean towards a decision about buying from you. Here we're talking about making sure that there's an urgency. The top decision maker has to understand that if they go ahead and take advantage of your offer, they're going to get something of value really, really quickly. And I'm talking about value, or we could say results. That kind of ties in with the results question. So remember, it's not only can you deliver the product or the service tangibly, but can you deliver the value? Question number 6, what will I get? This question is always personal and to the benefit of the top decision maker, and professionally too. And you have to realize this is where you cannot afford to miss it. The decision maker has to feel that they're going to benefit personally and professionally from making a decision to buy from you. And what you have to remember about all this is we're talking about value assessment. So what I want to encourage you is that next time you're working with a decision maker, don't just think about your presentation or your solution. Think like they do. Think of how you can help them answer these 6 questions in their mind toward your favor, and I guarantee you, you're going to be closing a lot more sales a lot more often.